Michael Nagy here with Jiggy Jag TV, and I'm here with the band Dead Fish Handshake. How you guys doing today?
Hey, doing great.
So you want to give us a little history about the band for anyone that doesn't know?
Yeah, we have been a lineup now for, we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary, I think.
Wow, almost.
Yeah, almost. Almost 10. We actually started in an unconventional way. So I was in a metal band out of Rhode Island, and Rob was in an alternative band in New Jersey, and Mark was drumming in, I'd say like some kind of metal fusion kind of band too. And we were all friendly. We were all bands that grew up in the same scene. But as things happen when you go through your bandmates, you start moving on to the project. So I was always a big fan of Rob's guitar playing, and I like to think he was a fan of my voice. So
not bad. Not too shabby.
So we had sat down, and we intended Dead Fish Handshake to really be an acoustic side project.
Okay.
And we had a couple songs, we started building it up, and then we would bring in a lot of guest musicians. We were reaching out to guys that Mark knew and whatever, and then we were like, all right, it's kind of cool. So we then enlisted Darren, who was Rob's bassist in Down Shallow. He jumped over, and then we went through a revolving door of drummers, and that's really how the first record that we have, Across State Lines, developed. After Across State Lines came out, we were able to get some attention through Architect Studios, and that brought in Clint Lowry from Seven Deaths to be able to come in and produce. The reason why I dropped that name like that is because when he got involved, it really started to open up a lot more doors. That's when Mark came in, and Mark was part of that whole process, and we loved working with Mark so much that it was like a natural fit. We wish we had him when the first record and on. But it was the second EP, the Sixes with Clint, that we had that full lineup, and that we really, kind of took.
Came into our own there.
Yeah, we came into our own. We kind of took a step that we needed to go further in our career. After that, we had released a string of singles that came out. Nothing Stays Gold, All Time Low. And after that, we took a hiatus. National tour came after that. Been very lucky to play with some big acts, and tonight being with our heroes of ours in Stabbing Westward. It keeps on going. So we're working on a new record now. That's a brief history. Sorry you asked.
Cool. It's all good. It's all good. Well, what kind of genre would you classify yourselves as?
I mean, it's rock, man. It's got a lot of different influences and elements of different things that we grew up listening to. At the end of the day, it's what is rock really these days? I mean, it's a hybrid of so many different things, and we kind of. We grew up on everything from, classic rock to, new wave and metal and stuff like that. So, I think you kind of hear that song to song, so we're not putting the same song out all the time. And that's kind of, we've developed our little sound there, based on, again, just kind of wearing your influence sometime on your sleeve. That's fine when it comes together, and the song is a song, it's all that.
We had a crazy comparison, and of course when you're in a band, especially when you're in a young band, you want to sound like all your heroes and things like that. But somebody had compared us to, U2 meets Nine Inch Nails and Soundgarden's House. And while those are the three loftiest bands that you could never touch, it was interesting to hear that because, if we could combine any elements of those guys into something original, that's a good goal to have.
You guys have been doing this for almost 10 years now. How do you think the sound has progressed over time?
I think that a song is going to be, you record a song or you capture a song, it's a moment in time. Mm-hmm. And so, like anything else, you're constantly growing as a person, as an individual, and as a band, So the chemistry is always there, and we do try to consciously, just dabble in things that, hey, we didn't do it so much on the first record. Hey, we love this. We love this kind of stuff too. Let's try it, and so over time, I think the songs just take their natural progress of just growing and capturing that moment.
Yeah, even in terms of being better songwriters, you're not, as a lyricist and a melody maker, you're not influenced by the same things as you were, in your early 20s. It's almost like, rock bands have that path where you start out angry and you want to come out balls to the wall, but then as you get in your 30s and start approaching 40, there's other things that you start to uncover. So maybe you start writing observationally instead of so much introspectively.
That's interesting that you say that because I
Yeah.
noticed that about, you know, a lot of different bands and stuff when they start off and progress.
Yeah, and I think the thing too is, you know, that's also where you got to be conscious because, you know, how many of these fans, they grow up and they want the early record and they want that band that was on the early record. You know, a band that can really, you know, change and stay with the times but also keep the fan base interested. That's something that we always aspire to be. So I like to think that we're doing that, you know.
It's like keep the original sound but evolve it into something,
Absolutely.
you know.
Yeah, but you know, when we say that, you know, Clint had produced, you know, our record, you know, with him being a 7-disc guy, you would have thought that, oh, well, maybe he's going to turn it into a metal band. But we weren't. You know, we were a rock band, a mainstream rock band, and you know, there's a lot of different types of music we like. So he was able to, you know, maybe coach us into some better songwriting, but also let us be ourselves. And then as we moved on from him, and we released the stuff that just came out recently, I think you hear a wide array of, you know, what it's been like to be 10 years in a band with guys that you've been through a lot of ups and downs with, and hopefully all of that happiness and turmoil and arguments and all, hopefully that all comes out and puts the emotion to a song for people out there. And that's, you know, what Dead Fish Handshake strives to do.
So where do you see the band in the future? Maybe say 5 years from now.
Well, I'll tell you what, 1 year from now, or maybe hopefully 6 months from now, we're going to be putting out a full-length record.
Okay.
We're in the studio now doing it. We have about, you know, 15 songs floating around, and we're in pre-production mode, so we're hoping to settle on the studio. We'll go in, pick as many as we can, and put that record out, and hopefully jump on some headliner tours with some friends of ours that we can't say right now,
Cool.
but maybe down the road we can. As far as a long-term plan, I'll tell you what, it's simple. If there's people out in the crowd, we will still be playing. The day they stop coming out, that'll be the day we stop making music. As a force of influence.
It's all about the fans, yeah.
Hey, it is about them.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
even tonight, you know, you could have the best show, you could have the worst show. When you got those people behind you and they come see you on everything and they follow you and the money that they get, these guys are waiting in line around the corner, you know, before the doors even open. People standing with canes, and I know it's cliche, but you know, that's one part that whether it was year 1 or whether it's year 10, when you have people that are willing to do that for you and you have that privilege to go out and play for them, that's a huge thing.
Yeah. So tonight, is this a tour or just playing this show?
Well, this is a homecoming show for us, you know, being out with SW. So we're from the Jersey area, so anytime we can get an opportunity to come to Starland and to open up for them was phenomenal. You know, I made a comment on stage. The Darkest Days record, you know, that was on a repeat through all of my teenage years. You know, and it's not, and I know they probably hear it from everybody in that crowd, but that was an important album, and to be able to come out here and kick the night off with them, you know, hopefully there's more days to come.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, we're fans ourselves. You know, we do it because we love music, and so we've had the fortunate few moments that you know, you grow up listening to these guys sometimes, and all of a sudden, you know, fast forward a few years later, and you have the privilege to just kind of, you know, share the stage with them, and that's happened on a number of occasions, and you're like a little kid, you know, a little kid at a candy store, because again, it's just.
It's like a dream come true.
Absolutely, you know.
Yeah, you should have saw this guy with STP. He was even him and Dean DeLeo. You know, I had to separate him. I had to draw the life.
Yeah, no, that's just like, you know, that's a dream for me, you know, and like to just kind of be up there and sit there and talk as a guitar player, you know, talk guitar tones with your guitar heroes, you know.
Yeah.
That's something else, man. I can't really put it in words, and that's why, you know, if our fans and our after a show they come out and you know, not everybody is necessarily feel good about approaching a band, and like, you know, we try to bring that wall down, you know, and because we ourselves are fans, and so we know what it means. Like, we're not going to sit here and blow anybody off, you know.
That makes a big difference.
Absolutely,
Fans
man.
are super cool and show.
Yeah,
People remember that.
You want to just, you know, you want to give them an experience, you know. It's like one hand washing another, and they're out here supporting you, and that's the least you can do, you know. That's the least you can say, and we love to do it. We want to be our fans. We want to sit there and, like, you know, let's take a picture. Let's, you know, thank you so much for coming out. Next time we're around, come out again, and you know, that's
awesome. That's what's going to build your fan base, actually.
Absolutely. We're lucky, you know, to be able to have a career that's gone on 10 years where we actually, you know, not that we're rolling a dough, but that we make enough money to be able to keep going. You know, it's a credit to all of them. And I'll tell you, the high from being a musician on stage and having people sing your songs, like, that's one high in itself. But when it carries over to that merch table, like, we live for that. And, you know, we've made a lot of great friends, you know, who are our fans, but, you know, it's deeper than that. And like I said, as long as they keep coming out, we'll keep putting out music because we love doing it. And, you know, until we have guts and, you know, all the great comes in, maybe then we gotta stop. We gotta kick Mark out. I'm not far behind, this is all fake. So. We got the hair, the color.
We did a thing a few years in a row, like, you know, just kind of like a, you know, not to be corny because it's not a fan club thing, but, you know, we ourselves, you know, we saw some bands that would do it, and we loved the idea, and we kind of talked about it early on, and we would do like an acoustic cover of like, you know, a song that we wish we wrote, and, you know, just hand it out freebie. It was called the Dead Fish Handout. And, you know, we would do it at the end of the year, you know, kind of almost like a holiday gift to our fans. And it's just like little things like that, you know, it just
goes a long way.
I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see my favorite bands do that, you know, and so those are the little things, man.
What's cool too is that, like, in this day and age, you know, people have so much more access to bands, you know, whether it be through social media or whatever, and they want that. And, you know, and as a band, you also want to walk a fine line because, you know, it can invite in the wrong thing. But, you know, but we've been very lucky to make a lot of accessible things, and I would hope that if you ask the fans that they would feel they're a part of it too, and you know, they mean a lot more to us than that. And as cliche as it sounds, it's the truth.
Cool. Now, if people want to look you up online, find your music, how do they do that?
Yeah, well, the first thing would be www.deadfishhandshake.com. And then we're available wherever you stream music, so Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, anything. I think
YouTube, any social media.
Yeah, we're pretty.
And social media, we're all, you know, we're there. We're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and, you know, so we make our rounds. It's important, you know, it's important to kind of to keep that connection.
And we still reply too. We still reply, so click that message button.
That's awesome. Well, it was good having you, and look them up.